Let's do a little bit of a sound check, see if you guys can hear me. I see the red bar, so it looks like the sound is coming through. Josh is in there for that first ticket. He's like, bam, stealing it. We're It should be fine. Hello, hello. Sound is good? All right, thank you, Will. I appreciate it. I was like, maybe they can't hear me. Like, maybe they cannot. All right, good. All right, so interesting day in the market. Definitely, definitely, definitely. A couple different things I was looking at here. Hold on, I was looking at different menus here. All right, so looking overall for the day, not as crazy it's been the last 2 days, right? I mean, last 2 days we've seen the pound literally go absolutely crazy, go straight down, go straight up. You know, yesterday I think we were up 140, and now we're looking over here at the pound yen at 11. So much more reserved, right, as far as the pound goes. I have actually looking at it today, the big mover is, again, we've seen the dollar Swiss continue to go higher, and we mentioned that as well as we heard less and less about the Iran situation. That has continued to move. Dollar yen up 38, it's all right. Euro, again, euro dollar down 30 or 43. That's actually the biggest mover of the day. It's slightly edged out the Swiss, and again, it has a higher ATR, so that's kind of the big mover of the day. And again, that started early on. You can see it's actually rallied back in like the last 15 minutes, 0.03%. So it was actually a little bit more than that. And again, you'll see it in some of the charts as well. It's final PMI services, again, 53.9. That's better than forecast for the pound. So again, that's always a good thing, right? Non-farm numbers, I mean, that's quite a miss there, right? I mean, 157 was the expected, 199 was the previous, and 291 was the actual. That's an awesome number. That's a really, really good number. Trade balance for the CAD, again, good number for the CAD, and again, that's probably why we see the the -5 for the day. Nothing too super there. Looking at my manufacturing numbers, again, better than expected. All good data, and this is where we talk about how they're talking about, oh, we're gonna lower rates because we're going into a recession, but yet I don't know. I mean, the economy we keep getting better than expected, and it's growing even higher than 50. So I mean, that's good stuff. Crude oil surplus of 3.4. Okay, again, it wasn't the real big number that I was looking for. Like I said, I was looking at like 6 to 10. 3.4. Obviously it was a miss, but there was an oil setup that we talked about this morning that we posted up. You guys could have traded that one, as well as a gold one. Actually, was that the one I was just looking at? I know it was definitely the gold one that we had. Yeah, that was the oil trade. Yep, that was the oil trade. So yeah, there's a couple different, oil and other entries that we had going on from last night. Let's see what else we got in here. And then we obviously had the retail sales numbers. And again, quite a large miss on that. Now, it was expected to be bad already. But again, the reason why we didn't see like an enormous, like crazy bit of movement is because, again, we had an adjustment up last time and, the down this time. So, yeah, when you have those two conflicting signals, it kind of washes it out a little bit, which is going to happen. But again, there was still a bit of movement. Again, a lot of times you're seeing the Aussie sitting inside of. We were actually just up inside of 4-hour supply on a lot of different things, and again, there's still a couple of them right now that are out there. Maybe some good trading opportunities at this point to take short-term retraces back to the downside. So pretty interesting there. Going into tomorrow. Okay, actually, I guess we'll go into tomorrow. So tomorrow, again, we have ECB president speaking again, only early in the morning, and then really nothing considered high impact tomorrow until we get to the afternoon. And then 5:30 we have RBA, 7:30 monetary policy statement, and then New Zealand at 9 p.m. the inflation expectations. And again, inflation is always important because typically that's a mandate for a lot of other countries. And with inflation, the way they control inflation is with interest rates. So it's always kind of a we always kind of want to know what inflation is, okay? But inflation expectations, if an economy is running too hot or too cold, again, that's where we're going to see the numbers. So that's pretty good. And then obviously the trade balance for China. Excuse me. That was probably going to be a little bit off. Like I said, it's probably too early to see any type of the trade balance numbers affected by what's going on currently. But we'll see how that one turns out. I think Ireland released coronavirus. Yeah, it could be, right? Pretty soon, Iran's going to be like, hey, listen, they've killed more people than we did. Like, what's the deal here? You know, I think that's going to be the next step. You know, they're trying to figure out, hey, listen, come on. um, yeah, and it is what it is. And then there was the whole thing with Trump as well today. If you guys missed that, I think that's official, right? He got what is it? I think it's probably down here, right? It's got to be somewhere in here. I haven't seen it in here. Didn't he get like fully acquitted or something like that? I think he's fully acquitted. I don't know. I have a friend that's like all over it, and she sent me a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm pretty sure that's over with now. So I'm not sure what we're going to focus on next. I'm sure something else will come up. Anyway, um, yeah. So far as looking at the news, exonerated. Yeah, yeah. So acquitted and exonerated, right? So like I don't know. It's such drama. Everyone, you get the one person. It's like, oh, it's rigged. Looking at the party line. It's like, well, yeah, but didn't the same thing happen in the House on the other side? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it happened on the other side too. And you guys complained about that one, but now you're not complaining. I don't know. Somebody will always find a reason to complain. It just, there's always a reason to complain. Yeah. So vote went through. It's done. Oh, it'll be interesting to see. I will say, as much of a fan as I am not a Joe Biden president guy, but I will say the memes of him with Obama were absolutely hysterical. They were the best presidential memes ever. I think they were great. I will say, as much as I love those, the Nancy Pelosi ones ripping up the speech are actually pretty funny too. I've seen a couple of those that have been really, really good that people have posted. The note from Donald I thought was pretty funny. I don't know if you guys have seen those before, but man, there are some funny memes out there because of that whole thing. It's just hysterical. Um, yeah, there's some fun stuff. Um, but yeah, so we'll see what tomorrow's news stories are. I'm sure it'll be something. It's always got to be something. Oop, I'm clicking buttons and things are disappearing on me. All right. Oh, there's 70 new deaths in September. Or there you go. Canadian dollar seen higher if China virus threatens to run its. Something has to come up. Like I said, I feel like the corona at this point, like there's all these distractions coming out of the market. I feel like something new has to pop up. Like I don't know what the markets are going to do if there's not something to focus on. And that's what I feel like we're kind of missing. And again, there's no news. Really much. Not really much tomorrow, right? I mean, you can see even if I crank it down onto the yellow, what we got here. I mean, you got all this kind of stuff. Productivity, labor costs. I mean, a little bit. I mean, natural gas storage. I don't know if you guys are trading natural gas much at all, but that's kind of it, right? I mean, eh, eh, you know, not crazy stuff. Um, yeah, it's gonna be boring. Sorry, I have to continue putting classes off. Oh, as far as updates go, hold on, let me bring it up on this other one, and then I'll drag it in. Make sure you guys can't see my password. Let's see, where is it? I had Ernest starting the test of the day, so just so you guys know, I just want to point out that you know, if there's anything that's moving slow at this point, um, I'm happy to say that you guys can see here. Okay, you guys already know that this is published. Parabolic retracements is now published on the new webpage, and you guys can see what's happening over here. 5-minute binaries is going up, and you guys, if you look to the left over here too, if you look over here, you guys can see which one is outlined and in draft mode still. So again, I have to put the forex master course next, but the goal is tomorrow is to get the full 5-minute up there. And again, Ernest is proofreading this one. So as soon as it's there, as soon as he proofreads it, again, I have to add a couple questions. There's quizzes and things like that and surveys in there that are newly added. Pretty exciting stuff. I do have to put that in there and just a couple of the download links that we're not working today, but or as far as like links into like Nadex and stuff. But everything else is good to go. So this one will be switched over. Like I said, it is Ernest is testing it, and then this one, the goal is to get this one up tomorrow, and then get master course up on Friday, which means we will be rolling into next week with basically everything over here. So we'll have easier access and better tools to do it. So yeah, so that's what's been going on. But again, I figured some of you guys would see this and be like, "Oh, is it coming back?" And the answer is yes. Every 3PR is so good so far. Yeah, yeah. So Ernest is proofreading it. So if there's anything wrong, you guys can blame Ernest. That's why I brought him in for, editing purposes. All right, so, but yeah, like I said, that one is up, and we are slowly, moving along with that. But anyway, for those of you that already own it, you guys will see an email that says, "Hey, listen, here's the new webpage come across." And again, you guys will be registered. Obviously, when you head it from the other side, we're just changing members areas around. Okay. All right, so that's what we have going on tomorrow. Like I said, nothing over here in the news is really going crazy. Last update before we jump in, check this out. We started working on it as well. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, depending on the quality. Like I said, MT4 with the resolution I use is basically you need a magnifying glass. So what I'm going to pretty soon be doing is I'm going to have the microphone, and then I'm going to have like the magnifying glass, like one of those things like dentists wear, so I could see these MT4 charts. But if you guys can see what this is an alert, okay? And this is an alert that literally triggered at this zone. Now, whether or not you would take this alert is a different story. Most likely not. I mean, it's very, very small in the 30-minute. You guys can see, I mean, setting it up, the alert popped. It's in pop-up mode. And you guys can see there was plenty of time to enter this trade on 30 minutes, and it ended up going down about 3/4 of the way to, the 1-to-3 risk-reward ratio. So we're trying to dial this in, make this even better than it was before. Yeah, so it's looking good. Like I said, if you have not tried this thing out yet, I mean, this thing is it's better than what I expected we'd be able to turn into it. Matt did an absolutely amazing job on it, and again, he's still adding features to make it even better. An alert function was one of them that I wanted to kind of pull into it, and yeah, so pretty cool function. The other thing too is if you hover over this thing now as well. Some of you guys had asked about it before. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. If you guys zoom in very, very low, you should be able to see it. It says suggested position size. Okay, 18.31 lots. For those of you that can't really see that, I'll bring this over across, and let's bring this over here. You guys will see now this has a percent of equity risked. So what it is doing is now you are setting a percentage, and if you hover over the zone that we built, right, it will actually give you a, oops, let me close that. If you hover over the line, it will actually show you the suggested position size based off of what your risk level is drawn off of a zone. Again, it adjusts, it's a dynamic piece. Right here, you guys can see here, I'll close the alert. You guys can see like right now it says 18. If I was to take this and make this zone a lot bigger, okay, and do the same hover, you guys can see now we're down to 3.19 lots. So it's starting to come together. You guys asked for it. It's kind of one of those things, ask and you shall receive. And again, kind of a cool way to do it. I wanted to kind of put it up top, but unfortunately I wanted to have like a big piece over here. Unfortunately, the problem with that is because it's a dynamic situation, it's kind of hard. We can put something static over here that just says, okay, this is what your total is for your account. This is how much you can risk right now, depending on like that dynamic. Yeah, you can risk $200 a trade, 210, $500, $59, whatever it is. We can put a dynamic one that just literally is a calculation between your account balance and whatever percentage you set. But this is actually a trade specific one. So again, here's at this point, it's 3.19 lots. Down here, again, hover it. It's 1.45. Again, if you have very, very tiny risk and you're risking the same amount on every trade at 2%, again, I hover it now and I'm 17.92 lots. So pretty cool little function. Again, to keep you guys, honest in your, consistent position sizing. So just something cool. Yeah, it is. It is pretty cool, right? All right, so let's start off with the top where we normally start off with, and let's go over into the Aussie. And again, we just had Aussie news a little while ago. It was kind of a washed-out piece of news. So, I'm sorry. You know what? I jumped ahead. Let's dive into the scanner first. Okay, scanner-wise, all right. So, scanner tonight, we have kind of the same situation that we had before a couple days ago with the euro, where we had a lot of these things where we were stuck inside of a consolidation phase. Now, the majors overall, a lot better looking than what we've had lately. Okay, we have an anchor break in these two showing us to the upside. We have some consolidation in the CAD, and again, that one only moved -6 pips today. So again, not really surprised at that one. Euro dollar, pound dollar, both of them are in a confirmed roll, which means if we get any type of a pullback, that's giving us a setup, giving us a setup situation. So we love those. And then New Zealand's in the consolidation. Euro, nothing exciting here. I mean, on lower time frames, they do have confirms. You see some check marks in here. We're looking for a pullback. If we get that pullback, that's giving us kind of a good option to be able to, say, hey, listen, what do we got, right? That's where we can go to those lower time frames and make some trades. So on the overnight scale, or on the overnight front, not looking great. On the lower time frames, a lot more checks, a lot more pullbacks and things like that. Now, looking inside of the CAD basket. CAD basket is a little bit mixed. We have an anchor break situation here. We have two setups for downtrends, and then we have a confirmed sideways down. But then again, we have consolidation, consolidation, consolidation. Okay. So again, this is CAD weakness, right? Because it's going up, right? It's an anchor break to the top side. And then both of these, we have a downtrend setup, which again is more CAD weakness. But again, on this case, then it's actually more a little bit of a down strength. So a little bit mixed, but again, there is some tradable things inside of this CAD basket. In the Aussie basket, again, everything is in some type of a situation right now, whether it be sideways, up, confirmed, again, ready for a pullback. We have two anchor breaks to the top side, bringing strength in, or we have these downtrend setups with the Swiss or the dollar, okay? And again, confirmed and, pullbacks on the lower one. So you guys can see where these things are coming up at. So there's definitely some stuff going on in the Aussie basket. Inside of the pound basket, it's pretty funny, right? Oh, it just flipped back again. I was like, man, look at it. It's almost all checks and only two squares. Okay, now we have this down, again, what we're seeing here is we're seeing an anchor break to the downside. So it's weakness, 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 and weakness, although these bottom two are consolidation. On the lower time frames, weakness, 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 weakness. And again, is it a huge weakness right now, even against the end? No, I mean, the end is technically up, 18 pips, but it's showing that we're inside of that consolidation phase. Large, big candles for a couple days, and now we have a small, normal one that's kind of not normal, but it's actually small. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that level of consolidation now, okay? So, again, we'll check it out, see what type of overnight opportunities. But an interesting kind of board here where we have something like the Aussie, which is all over the place, and even the CAD, which is a lot of tradable setups. But then you go over to the Euro, and it's like nothing. And then the CAD is about, or I'm sorry, the pound is about split. So, interesting overview. And again, for those of you that don't have your charts up or you don't have multiple screens, again, getting a scanner like this is pretty helpful because you can look at everything at once, right? And remember, during the day, I'm not looking at these, I'm looking at, I'm changing my trend matrix around. And what I'm doing is I'm switching that, right? I have this set for, actually, I'll just do it this way. I have it set for this one, right? And it's all out of whack, out of size. You guys can see it. It's all out of whack because I actually put it on a different monitor and it's resized, so it sits on one monitor with all my heads up display. But again, for chart school, I'm using this one. Okay. So again, that's why it's pretty handy because I can see all this data all in one spot. And then when I see something, then I jump over and I look at it on my other chart. All right. So again, whoops, make sure that you are, I put it up again. I hate when I do that. Bam, there we go. I have like a button. I don't know where I'm clicking, but it's like an automatic minimize everything button. I think it's one of the hotkeys on the side of my mouse, and I think I keep hitting it by mistake. But anyway, so that's what we're looking for. All right. All right. So with that being said, let's jump across and let's go back into the charts. All right. Starting off, we have the Aussie dollar. Okay. Aussie dollar on the scanner was giving us a downtrend setup, a sideways down on the 4, and an uptrend setup on the 1 hour. So as you can see right now, again, we are in a downtrend setup. We are looking for levels, and there's a bit of a level, right? That we kind of just came through. I don't know if this, let's see, did it mark this one? No, I was unable to grab this one, but you guys can see this level of basing right here. And you can mark this zone off right there, okay? And as you can see, we were in a downtrend setup. We hit that zone, and we've already started to retrace back again. And it kind of went back to the start of the move, so it was kind of an acceptable place of where you would expect this thing to turn around at least on the 4 hour. Now, dropping it down to an hour, it's like, okay, what does it look like here? Is there something we could have grabbed? And here there actually is. So let me delete this big one, and let me take this off. And you can see, I'll bring it back to here. Let's hit this. You can see that that's what we were looking for. Okay, again, we're downtrend setup right here, but we know on the top side we're actually looking for something here because we're in the downtrend setup. And you can see what we were able to grab here. Again, I'll move it to there, right? Let's throw a risk factor on this one. And boom. Not only did you have a very, very large spike in, you were able to grab this entry. And again, very, 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 very small, right? You're only talking about 6, 7 pips. And not only did it hit its 3 to 1, it hit its 5 to 1 and came back exactly where we would have hit our profit target. Our profit target would have been sitting right here, right? The start of that move, that the top of this green candle behind this large body. And you can see it literally banked right off that thing. So absolutely perfect setup. I don't know if you guys were able to grab this one. And again, that one would have been set up off of here. You would have said, okay, on the 4 hour daily downtrend setup, it's in, it's over here. Look, this whole time here, you're looking, right? You're looking and saying, okay, there's something in here. Where is it? I need to find that zone. And again, dropping it down to refine your zone is where you saw this nice little peak here. And again, it actually went back a little bit further here, but you'd marked off the same zone, would have been no different. Again, that downtrend setup in this level, 5 to 1, Bam, there you go for Aussie. Now, where we are now, it does look like it wants to push it a little bit lower. And again, on the 4-hour, you can see that not only did we have the big spike back down again, but this green was really not that impressive. And now we're starting to put a red candle in. So if that's the new lower high, it looks like it wants to start retracing back down again. So we'll actually be looking on these lower time frames for something. Let's remove this. Kind of that's what we have set, looking at right now. Definitely a level above. And again, if you missed that entry, this was a failure to go higher. And again, same thing. We were, this is actually marking it as an uptrend setup, not versus a down over here, but actually it should be the other way, not this way. But again, into a zone, taking this thing short, you would have been fine off that as well. So this zone, because it went about halfway through, it's not bad. I don't mind it. It was the first retest through. Dropping it down to the 30-minute, though, gives us a little bit better of a window. And you can see that there are the two levels, but this zone actually didn't do bad. Let's see, how much is that zone? It's only about 3, so I'd probably just say take the whole thing just to be on the safe side. You're looking at about 7 pips, which is fine. We can adjust this to the top side, right? Something along those lines. And again, the placement of that 1 to 3 is not bad. The placement of this 5 to 1 or 1 to 5, it's not bad, right? It's a little bit lower. We'd like to have it about here. Okay, so it's a little bit lower, and as you guys can see, with the position size are in. Actually, I don't have it on this one. This is a different test. I'm only testing the alerts on the pound, not the Aussie. So that's what we have going on here. But you guys can see that that's what we have going on. All right. The downside. So that's not bad, right? I don't mind that one whatsoever. Looking at the Aussie New Zealand, okay, you can see that again on the daily, the Aussie New Zealand continued its push away. Okay. On the 4-hour, okay, on the 4-hour, it's not as impressive. I mean, we had basically one candle and then it just more or less moved sideways and retraced. What did it do? It grabbed orders here and they continued to drive higher. So this one is in a sideways up confirmed on the 4-hour, and then an anchor break to the top side. But what are we running into? We're running into an area of supply. So again, throw your tool on there. That's actually not a bad spot for your 3 to 1. I like that right before here. And again, not horrible. It is before this zone, but that's not a bad little setup to the downside. That is the old prior. I mean, again, it's no difference. This zone is still drawn off of this area. Your risk level on this one is about 20, and you were up about 30. So you were up 1.5 to 1 on this one, and now it's retraced. But again, it barely grazed that zone, so not a bad little, not a bad little trade. This could be something that if you're looking for an overnight or something, not horrible. Dropping it down to an hourly, you can see where it's kind of set up at. And again, it's still having the same area. It's just slightly higher on this one. And again, going back, you can see. Look at that, barely touched that zone. So that's actually a pretty legit zone up there. Yeah, that's not bad. Again, descending wicks on that one, tested there. So, if you want to wait for it to get a little bit higher since it's already tested this area, again, you could just jump this up just a bit and boom, there you go. And what are we looking at? We're looking at about 7 pips on that one as well. It's about 7 pips risk. The 1 to 3, right now it looks good. I mean, if it spikes up in 1, we're fine. And even the 1 to 5 doesn't look bad on this one. For something to be able to take this overnight. And again, set yourself an alert, set yourself a trigger, look to get into that when it pops up there. Okay. Let's see, Aussie Yen. So Aussie Yen had a bit of a spike up, as you guys can see on the lower time frames. We had something small set in here, and again, got front run on this one. And once it came into here, this one became invalidated. So again, you weren't taking this. We got here. You guys can see we got super close. I mean, we made it to this area. Did not make it back up to the wick before we kind of turned around. So kind of a weird little setup in here, right? Big spike up, a little bit more, and this one is not quite as high. So it looks like it's getting a bit exhausted. This was not as fast of a bounce out as we had here. So this probably is going to be turning and going to the downside. It isn't an anchor break to the top side on the daily. A consolidation pattern on the 4 and on the 1 hour. Yeah. I mean, it's confirmed. Like I said, I think this one will flip. I'd like this, if this can overnight, I'd like to take it off of this zone. I think this is a pretty nice little zone up here. I mean, again, this is on the hourly. We could do it on the 30-minute. But where this gap is, the way this gap formed, and the way that it jumped down its response afterwards, I'm kind of looking for this. So, I mean, for me, I would be sitting there and, getting my alert set in that range. I want to know when we get close to that zone to be able to take a short on this one. Again, Aussie Yen is a native tradable pair as well. So there's definitely something you can take out of this guy. And again, that goes down to your 30-minute. Dropping over across to Aussie CAD. So Aussie cat on the 4 hour. So we had a nice little zone here. We ended up hitting and it pulled back, and then man, it went all the way through, came all the way back up, and now it's kind of stuck right in the middle of the zone. So this was a hard one. Again, you guys can see we had a little bit of movement there. This zone just went through. Okay, you're not going to win them all, so this one would have got stopped out. And again, it really didn't move past, right? It blew through the top, came and retested, came up, went right below, retested, came up, and it's literally where the break is right in the middle. So nothing spectacular in this one. And again, on the daily, a lot of wicks on this one. I mean, we were playing the gap on that one, but again, until we get up here, there's nothing super clear. We are at the 50% mark on the daily. 4 hour, kind of a similar situation. Again, we can see that we're kind of in no man's land here in the middle. This is where the gap was. So again, let's get high on the curve or low on the curve before we end buying or selling this one, and just let this one go. Okay. All right, going over to Aussie Swiss. So Aussie Swiss was kind of in the same situation, although this one did trigger and did go all the way back down again. You can see it on the 4 hour there. If we drop it down to the hour, you guys are able to see where it originally came up. There you go. You guys can see it here. We ended up triggering and coming all the way back down again. So again, you wouldn't have lost anything on this one. You would have got stopped out at break even on this grab. And since that time, it has pushed up, but it has not gotten all the way back up. We're looking for it to come all the way back up to this zone, and we have not been able to reach it yet. So we're getting pretty close. Getting pretty close. But again, this is why patience is so important. And again, on the 30-minute, you can see it as well. All right. Whoops, let me adjust that one. There we go. All right. So this little one, I love when you see this. You're like, oh my God, look at that. That was a perfect. No, this is too small. This is 3 pips. So you would not be taking this one, even though it's like, oh, look at that. It's great. The short, it worked. No, no, you would not have taken that one. If anything, let's wait till it gets back lower. This is a great, if we're able to get into some type of nice little kind of setup here to the downside. Again, this is a nice little target. Again, the way that this exploded off and kind of retested, this is pretty nice. So, again, save this one. Keep that on your radar. And then let's turn it off and let's blow this guy up. All right, so we are at this level right now where we had this drop sideways and then drop again. We did finally push back up. We are in that level, right? Going on to the 4 hour, you can see this thing is still pushing. Now, looking to the left, we are still not at the top, but it is a level of basing. So we're kind of seeing that. We had a bit of a pullback off the bottom of this zone and then a rally back up again. But big question is, do you see anything that's clear in here that you're like, yeah, I love that. That looks good? The answer is not really. Again, you're seeing us bounce here. I mean, really on this one, I'm really kind of focused on the 4 hour, and I think as well, I think I'm going to wait till we get very high in the curve. None of this is explosive movement. The bottom of this zone starts at 94. I got to move forward. 94.44. I'd probably start looking for, I'd probably set an alert in this area, the 94.23. That's probably a safe area to do it. Gives you about 40 pips before we can get up in that range. That should be more than enough. I mean, it's only got a 32 pip ATR in 4 hours, so you should be able to come back to it and kind of check that one out. All right. All right, so that is Aussie. Let's go over and look at CAD real quick. Hold on one sec. All right, so CAD yen. All right, so CAD yen. Okay, you guys can see we took a big bounce off that lower level, which I think was a 4 hour. Had the, I don't know, move today. It ended up down and then popping back up again and not really clearing the area. Like I said, I still think this area and the gap are better places to get short, and we're not quite there yet. One thing that kind of lowers the kind of ranking on this one for some type of a short is the fact that we have these candles kind of tiering higher, right? I mean, you're seeing, this is a low, and then there's a higher low, and then a higher low, and again, you're forming those higher lows into a base. That's the type of pattern I typically like to take long and shorts out of. So again, be a bit cautious with that one. Again, we do have this turning piece here, but I would actually use the gap. For me, I would be using not necessarily that, because that retested. You guys can see the blue bar. The blue bar means it went into the other box. Okay, that means this is where it would hit. So I would probably use that instead. Kind of the same thing with this one. I would not use that one. I would actually use level. I would use that level. And same thing. You guys see the blue line right there? It means it hit this upper zone and got turned away. So again, aggressive, less aggressive. Okay, it just depends. And again, if it comes to this level and goes down, did I lose any money? No. No. But if I take this one and it goes to the top one, did I lose money? Then the answer is yes. Yes. You got to figure out what makes the most sense for you. Strategy. Oh my God, Ernest, you and the fading thing with the it's always you that's pointing out the fading audio. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I feel like when I take a breath, you think that the audio cuts out. Or you know what? You know what it could be? It could be. Hold on. Let's check something out here. Only this. Let's see. Let me minimize some. I need that. I need that. Actually, that. Yeah, I need that. Don't need this. I'm shutting down some pages right now. I don't need that. Hold on one sec. I need that. I'm like, yeah, I'll worry about this later. Again, there's you guys know what that is. Let's close that. You guys know what this is. Okay. Swapping logos. All right, so that's all those. All right. That's because you're actually listening. I don't know, man. Ernest, I'm still worried for you because you were picking on, dumbbells and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, you know what Carl actually looks like, right? I mean, Carl has to go sideways through doors. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of that, but I mean, Carl's pretty jacked, you know? Um, hold on one second. My daughter is supposedly taking the bath water and dumping it on the floor. Lovely. I just had to hold on. Uh, yeah. Now Carl doesn't do legs. I just want to be going on the record, So I am on your side on that one. Carl's like one of those guys that does a lot of bench pressing and curls and presses and stuff, but doesn't do any legs. So again, this guys, we're looking for a downtrend setup. We're coming up to a zone again. These two zones here again, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more conservative. But we're coming into that area where we're getting close to a short. Okay. All right. So that's CAD yen. Let's go to CAD Swiss. So CAD Swiss, this one has just been grinding higher and higher and higher and higher, and it's kind of like, I mean, again, we didn't quite make it down to the demand zone. We're pushing back up again. There hasn't been any really high quality. I mean, there's one okay. It's all right. I mean, it's been a lot of time there, and there's a lot of wicks there, so it's not really a super great zone. I think I'm gonna wait till it gets a little bit higher. On the hourly, you can see it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's marking the level. Um, but again, this is kind of just like, what is this, right? This is just sideways movement. This is not showing us that there's any type of a trend or anything really worthwhile to trade. So when you run in a situation like that, the best thing you can do is just walk away and find something else. Okay. Looking at the Swiss, those are corporate muscles. I'm more of a corp. Yeah, those are corporate muscles. Although the funny part, yeah, I will say when Carl jumped in today and was talking about taxes, I'm like, hey, nobody's going to argue with Carl at this point with taxes. Um, let's reset these. All right, so looking at Swiss yen. So again, Swiss yen came all the way off, ended up bouncing, came back up again, and is now having a little bit of problem. Now, this is kind of the impulse move. This is the correction, and it's green right now, looking like it's going to be an impulse move. Nothing in here, I mentioned last night, nothing in here screamed to me that this is going to be turning around. Hold on one sec. Again, sorry. Um, all right. So for me, this one, no real supply zones in here until we get back up. Swiss, I don't need to do anything there. So looking at the euro. Sorry, I just had to adjust the microphone a little bit. So if it cuts out there, it is me. Um, so I'm like, yes, it's bad that she's dumping water on the floor. All right, you're Aussie. So We're also in the 4, you can see this thing continue to push down. We did have a bit of a retracement off of this zone, and I don't think it marked that one. I think we marked it last night. No, I mean, I wouldn't have used that zone. I would have gone much lower on that. Inside of here, and again, that right here is where we were. We ended up hitting it, bouncing back up, and it's trying to push through. So at this point, looking at this on the 4 hour, you can see we're kind of smack in the middle. I'd say we're probably at the 30 or 40% mark. Is there a great chance for us to enter? And the answer is really no. I mean, we have a zone all the way up here, but nothing great on the 4 hour. Dropping down to the 1 hour. All right, you guys can see here that we are inside of this range here. And again, we're in a downtrend setup. But again, downtrend setup into what? There's a very, very small demand zone, and there's a little bit one. Again, this rally base and rally pop right below it. So there's a couple small zones stacked in here, but there's nothing like really explosive like this. This is an explosive move. Here, there's really not that same. And again, you got to go with easy. You got to go with an explosive move like this. There's nothing here. It's just kind of drama. So again, pass on this one without news and any catalyst. There's nothing to trade. Let's see what we got here. This one came up, tag that zone on the 4 hour. I think this one's slowed down as well. Yeah, this one's slowed down as well. So we had kind of all this. Again, we had that nice little kind of piece over here. And again, then just kind of flatline also is Euro CAD. So Euro CAD, not any type of setup right now. Euro pound. Yeah, I mean, here's where we were. Look, Euro pound popped, it dropped, it popped again, it dropped again, and it stopped. So again, it's a little bit of sideways movement. Again, we're looking for this top level for sells, this bottom area for buys, and we don't have either one of them right now. So again, let's wait till we get one of these two directions, make this a little bit more of a high quality trade. Let's see, reset it to give it new data. Yeah, kind of the same thing. We're just gonna sit in the middle. You guys can see, what did it bounce off of? The wick over wick right here. Now the question is, let's see, is this one set correctly? No, not yet. Anyway, there's a wick over wick right here. You guys can see it right here. See what we ran into on the 1 hour. So again, again, I probably, let's see, how much is this? Would I have traded this one? 6 pips, maybe. I mean, it was there for a long time. It never breached the top. I probably would not have traded that. I mean, it was there for 16 hours. Probably not. Yeah, so I'm going to stick with the 4 hour analysis on this one. I think I'm going to wait until we get top or bottom. Give us a little bit more of a high quality entry. I don't think that wick over wick will hold again. It went pretty deep into that zone. So again, wait top or bottom for this one. Again, European Open tomorrow morning, we probably have some type of a movement. So you guys can see the euro yen did pop up into that zone. Didn't move very far though. This zone was about 18 to 20 pips. So again, a decent sized zone. Were we able to shrink that one at all in the 30-minute? About 16. So I mean, that's what you're looking for, and it literally kind of came off that 3-to-1. I think we actually mentioned this last night, or one very similar to this one. So very much sideways movement. Again, you guys know the euro yen for me, it's kind of like it's either boom or bust. And again, when you have a sideways movement like this, it's kind of in the bust time for me. So I don't know. It'd be nice if we had a little bit more. Euro New Zealand. Okay, let's go back on the daily on this one. You guys can see the Euro New Zealand ended up bouncing, ended up continuing its pattern to the downside. It's making its way on that retrace. Obviously, at this point, we were past the 3-to-1. It's moving. It's about halfway down to its 5-to-1 position. Looking at the 4 hour, you can see kind of the same thing. A little bit slowing again, a little bit of a pullback. We have this impulse, this pullback, another impulse down, and again, we're kind of stuck here. But we are putting in lower highs, so again, it is still giving us that kind of downward trend cycle. And again, we'll see if we can continue to push. Looking to the left, I mean, there was a little bit here, and there's not too much, so I don't think we'll have any problems getting much lower in this position. What? Somebody's asking me. Oh, that's interesting. Oh. All right, so a guy that I haven't talked to in like 6 months just messaged me. Oh. Hey, Q, make sure you text message me afterwards. Q, send me a message after this. I just got an interesting text message that you'll appreciate. Um, so again, in this one, um, sideways movement. Again, we're bouncing off a demand zone. We have supply zone up top. Is there any type of trend in the Euro New Zealand? Answer is no. Even on an hourly fashion, you can see we're literally bouncing between two areas. I mean, 47 pips is nothing to be scoffed at, but again, hasn't been much movement. You again for a pair like that can be as volatile as this pair. Again, you want to make sure that we have a good trend, and this is not necessarily. Um, all right, so I'm gonna have to like hold on. I gotta set my my wife's gonna laugh at this one. You're gonna laugh when you see this, buddy. um, all right, so again, sideways movement. Not interested in being. I'll take this one. Let's see your dollar. So your dollar is what do we got here? This was the big one of the day. It is now down 37, so the dollar Swiss is actually at 39 up. So again, it's kind of retracing a bit. Again, we saw that before. But you're able to see is, looking at this, let's drop it on a 4 hour. We've been sitting inside of this area and we've been talking about it, having this weight to come down to this level. And again, where is it? It's sitting inside of a demand zone now. So again, we should be thinking buy, 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 right? Again, looking at it on a daily, we can see a very large pop and a very large drop back down into the same type of demand area. Question is, are we going to get some type of a confirmation to the top side? Now, looking at this on an hourly basis, right? You can still see the zone. You can see we took a bounce off of it again. We came back up, and here, and again, this is why I wanted to kind of draw extra attention to this one. Here is a level of selling, right? Price came down, ended up hitting, came back up, it based, pushed down, down, and came back up again and grabbed some orders. So what it's doing is it's putting in these lower highs in here now. And again, here's another lower high, and this could be another lower high. So for me, I feel that this zone is just begging to be broken. Okay, it's only breached once. It hasn't gone much further. But again, we're only talking about a 3-4 pip zone on this hourly chart. So again, dropping it on the 4 hour, we don't have the same bounces, but what do we have here? We drove here, we drove deeper, we consolidated a little bit, but we're not popping up. And look what we have right here. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. This is a wick over wick. Okay, right above where the zone is. Okay, this zone is only about 9 pips, so this is a great chance for us to be able to look for shorts in this. Again, we want a break of this, and look where we are 1 to 3. Our 1 to 3 is before the next opposing demand zone. So again, great opportunity to look for a breakout trade to the downside, a little Harry Potter, come through, get a little white space, come back up, touch, and then continue to fall down. Okay, great little setup. Okay, again, mark this one off if we get further breakdown. Now again, I did it on the 4-hour because the zone here, looking for the break, was only about 3-4 pips. It wasn't quite large enough. But when you can grab a zone on the 4-hour for only 9 pips, not a bad entry. Now remember, we need the break, a little bit of space, and I say white space even though it's black charts, but again, if I say black space, then it's kind of like, wait, is it disappearing? It's like, no. It's just called white space, on a white chart. If it comes through and, again, you could draw a little triangle in there, that's what you're looking for. And then this zone becomes your risk level. Okay, so this is on my radar as potential trades for tonight. And again, this coming back down into this, 109.50 range, okay, is where we're looking for this one. Okay, so euro dollar is one of those ones I do like in the overnight, particularly with the news in the morning. And again, look at this one. Euro Singapore popped all the way up, collapsed back down again, and is now driven sideways. Yeah, it's there, right? It's in some type of a short pattern. We'll see where it goes. Like I said, with ECB president speaking again tomorrow, I do think that, again, if she mentions anything with weakness, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, she could start talking about the economic impacts of the coronavirus on the European Union, about any type of easing, not seeing strength, anything. Holding interest rates longer than what we expected because we're not seeing this, we're not seeing inflation. Any of those things that are considered, more bearish, that's setting us up for kind of a push to the downside. Okay, so it is set, particularly on the 4-hour. On the daily, it does have a little bit more where it needs to go. Again, it needs to pop up in this range. So we're there, but we're not quite there. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. It's getting close. Like I said, I like it on the 4 hour. On the daily, it's getting, a little bit more. Um, all right, so that would be your Singapore. Let's drop that into the pounds. Now the pounds, just so you guys know, my Make It alerts that pop up. This is where I'm testing all the new stuff at. So again, this bar will look different than your bar. Okay, you'll notice that these bars are a little bit different. Actually, this one is not different. Let's bring this down to the test. There you go. Now it's different. All right. On this one, let's pop all these on. All right. All right. Let's pop this guy up. All right, euro pound. So euro pound, you can see, okay, what type of trend do we have sitting here on the daily? Not much. We've been consolidating back and forth. We had a little bit up. We had that big 2 days in a row where we had 188 down, 140 back up again, and now we're getting consolidation patterns across the board. All right, looking at the scanner, looking at the pound basket, let me bring it back in just to remind you guys real quick. You guys can see over here we have consolidation, right? We have down, down, consolidation in this one. Again, we do not have confirmed. We have confirmation right here. So again, this is an anchor break to the down. So literally everything in here is saying that it is bearish. Okay. This doesn't necessarily look very bearish to me. Dropping it down to a 4 hour. Can you say, hey, listen, this looks bearish? Not really. It's very, very much sideways. Okay. As you guys can see, we are in a downtrend setup, but is there a great zone? Let me stretch this out, right? Is there a great level that if we could find it, if we can get to it, that would be good to short from? This one's not bad, right? Only problem with that level is it's about 160 pips away from where we are right now. Now, if we can get up there in one day, and again, more power to us, but it's not quite there yet, right? This pair right now on the daily has an ATR of 114. On the 4 hour, this thing is 160 pips away, right? I can measure it again. Actually, I'm sorry, 100. Yeah, it's 100 and, where price is net right now. No, I was right. 162 pips. It's probably not going to get there today or tomorrow. Okay, this could be something that we're looking at for next week. I would mark this level off again. Both these levels are pretty nice levels. This one is starting to get to the range where it could get breached, but again, top and bottom, these are two nice little levels on the 4 hour on the pound yen. Again, neither of these zones is huge either. But the fact that we were sitting in the middle, unless anything super crazy happens tomorrow, it's going to be at least one day's ATR in either direction before we can hit either of these two zones. So you got to kind of keep it on your radar, but it may not necessarily be tradable for tomorrow. All right, so that's kind of as much as I like them, we got to wait a bit on that too. Looking at pound CAD, let's see, let's bring pound CAD back. Now again, pound CAD is in the same situation. This is sideways down confirmed, and then an anchor break to the downside, sideways down confirmed on the lowest time frame. So everything is saying down. Now, are we in an area where we have demand? No, not really. I mean, we have this little wick here. I mean, that's pulling down here to grab some orders, but we have a higher low right here. I mean, we're kind of pushing to the downside, but what type of trend do we have on the daily? Okay. I mean, you could say, listen, we have a red, we have a green, but we don't have a red, or we have a red that's just starting to get, or potentially going to be a close below. So we're kind of there for a downtrend, right? Some type of a short trade. I mean, on the 4 hour here, if I stretch it out, I can make it somewhat look good. But again, these are higher lows, okay, and then we have lower highs. So it's more consolidating than it is anything else, waiting for some type of breakout on this one. And again, with a pair like this, not having the same volume and the spread being a little bit bigger, probably not the best opportunity overnight for us on that. Looking at pound dollar, okay, you guys can see here again. I can remove this guy. Looking at pound dollar again on the daily, you guys can see we've just recently butt off this bottom demand zone. Didn't go very, very far, grabbed some more orders, and have now kind of made a push to the downside. On the 4 hour, it's kind of the same thing. I can stretch it out, but this one has even a little bit more of a consolidated period. I mean, we're basically between here and here. Again, we've been going kind of back and forth. Now, this is a lot more space, right? Going down to the hourly, you can see here, we had orders that came up and grabbed it, but besides that, not a whole lot here. This is that zone, and then there's really not a whole lot until we get all the way up top. So finding an order, we either have to be really, really aggressive taking this small zone, which is I would say is very, very aggressive because, again, we're putting higher lows in, or we need to be a bit more conservative, and the conservative option in this one is 66 pips away. So a bit more room to run. The daily on this one is 97. So this one actually does have the potential that we could get up in that zone. Okay. We could get back up into this area. Now, as far as any longs or anything bullish minded, again, you need to wait till this comes back down again. It's much closer. It's only got about 25 pips before we get to that bottom area. Looking at it on the hourly, again, it's been a while since you've been in this range, and even dropping up to the 4-hour. You can see, looking to the left, what have we had down here? There's not really any great zones. I mean, we had this little kind of spike down and pop, and this spike down, and looking across over here, this is really not the best. I mean, it's kind of a clearing candle to this downside. So not really tons. And then when you look to the left, right, looking over here, and this one's okay, right? This one's not bad. Again, it's kind of a retest of this little gap candle down here. Let me turn the automatic scroll off. And then kind of looking back again. So really on the downside, I don't see tons that screams to me that, hey, listen, there's a ton of buyers here. So this is definitely a position I'm more bearish minded. I just need to find the good entry. And unfortunately, I'm not. There's not really too much in here. I like some of these conservative entries, but I don't have a lot in here that screams, yeah, I got to get short here. For lack of anything better, this is kind of what I'd be looking for right now. I probably wouldn't even use that level. I'd be using this level probably there, right? It goes slightly above that, and setting yourself, somewhere along that line, there to, what was it? Somewhere along those lines. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And again, it's the zone over here with the descending wicks, the descending candles, that I'm looking for. I'm not necessarily looking at the zone here. So I'll delete this so you guys can see it. Let's make sure I do this. There we go. That's kind of what I'm looking for. It's the upper range of this zone on the 1 hour. Okay. That's the best entry that I have to be able to go short. Now we do have some red, green, reds to the downside, but I'd really like to grab this one out of a candle. Pound Aussie, again, has been in this continuation pattern to the downside, giving us a lot of wicks. It keeps reaching up and getting more orders. But we are approaching kind of the start of this move. So looking at this candle, again, we did hit our target candle behind. This zone here, it is marked, but I'd probably go a bit lower on this one as well. I would probably mark it off of here. Again, this is the more conservative option. This zone has actually been pushed all the way to probably like 99% of the way through. It did not breach, but it's 99% of the way through. I'm not expecting it to hold if it was able to make it all the way down there. So I think we'll have a little bit of a bump, but if we can get back down to this lower zone, that lower zone starts at 191.00 down to 190.52 is what I'd be looking for as far as 4-hour targets go. Let's reset that. Again, you guys can see it here. Look, the top, all along this white zone. Okay, so that white zone for me is, again, go down to the hour. It looks like you can find it a little easier on the hourly than you could on the 4. Okay, and this would be a good one. All right. All right, so you're good here. Let's see what else we got here. Singapore, again, we were sitting high on the curve. We're getting into this thing here, so don't trade Singapore tonight. We just missed this one. This one got front run on the 4-hour. On the daily, you can see, again, we were bouncing back and forth. Let's check the hourly. Again, hourly, not too bad. These zones are about 15 apiece, 15 and 12, so those aren't actually too bad. This one would have missed the target. Again, this was the entry, not a zone. The zone actually starts over here. Again, you can see the confirmation. Let's see, did that indicator pick this one up? Nope, this one didn't pick up. That's where the zone is. Okay. And you'd be looking to take a risk level off of that. Again, all greens, great little entry. I actually don't even mind the 5-to-1. If we were to turn here, that 5-to-1 is not horrible. It's kind of sitting right, it's just past where the target would be anyway. But because that target candle flicked all the way down, I think we'd be okay on that one. So the entry on this one, if you guys can't see it, is 126.96 with the stop loss over at 127.13. First target at 126.45. No, do pop-ups, email, and SMS. Yeah, there we go. There you go. He's pulling the stops out. And then pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand again on the 30-minute. We're stuck between two. Yeah, it's just too far away. Here's the 4-hour look. We're smack in the middle of these two ranges. And again, we're not going to play in the middle. All right. So that is the pound. Looking at New Zealand. What do you got over here? All right, so sitting in demand zone again, not a bad little demand zone. Looking in there over here, nice little pop coming through. I think it's going to go through. I wouldn't be surprised if this one breaks. Um, where we got that one? Let's pull this out. Looks like look at that. We made it through and almost hit the 5-to-1 on the daily. So we're going to pull that guy off so we can see the lower time frames. Let's reset it for data. There we go. I think it's going to break. Let's see how much space do we have to the downside. It's only 14 pips. There's not enough movement in this one. There's only 14 pips, but I think it'll break level. This level down here actually is not horrible. I wouldn't necessarily be against looking for some type of a long position off of here. I think we may be able to take this back. It's about 40 pips before we come to this top side. If we come down, I could definitely be swayed to take a long position to the top. Long. I'll just do it this way. Something along those lines. Yeah, I like that 3-to-1. If this just continues to push down, that 3-to-1 is in a great place. And actually, the 5-to-1 is sitting above, right below the second zone. That's not a bad entry either. So again, not horrible, right? This is, again, New Zealand CAD is not where the normal pairs I would trade, but I like the setup on this one. So I think you're good to go with that. New Zealand dollar. Well, there was your entry on the 4-hour. Came back down and we're about 3/4 of the way. So this one is approaching its profit target. You're about 3/4 of the way there. Again, at this point, you need to make sure that your stop loss is moved to break even. So there's absolutely no risk left in this trade for you. You want to make sure even you have some banked in. And again, this would have been a chart school setup from last night, taking it off of that zone. So again, you are in this one 3/4 of the way to our profit target, about to hit your 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. This one's so close. It's like, oh, right there. You guys can see on the daily, it's pulling back into this sideways drop. Look at that, right there, right there. Man, it's close. Man, it's close, but it's just not there. And the one thing about this one is even if it does pop, we are starting to put demand in below. So any type of sell that you put in, you're going to be very, very cautious because there's buyers sitting right below this. You guys can see there's not only an uptrend line, but again, you get buyers here, you have buyers formed here if this pops. So be cautious with the short on this one. This may be one that we see what it does tomorrow. Again, there is New Zealand inflation expectations tomorrow at 9 p.m. Again, we can't trade New Zealand on Nadex, so this would be a spot currency trade only, but there definitely may be somewhat of a news release based on the inflation expectations. Okay, so you guys can trade that. New Zealand Swiss, I'm not going to cover that tonight. Going across to the dollar. Let's go dollar yen. Let's pull this up to the daily. All right, there we go. All right, 4-hour. Okay, so we had an area marked off in here, and it ended up going right through the top. This was a big mover. Such a small zone. What were we marking that off on? That was a tiny zone. Oh, you know what? Was that the zone we were dealing with? Setting something else up. Must have been the 4-hour. I think it was the 4-hour. Yeah, it was the 4-hour. It was this. Okay. So you made it about 60-70% of the way down before this one turned. So again, this would have been a stop loss at break even or banked a couple in there. Again, huge pop through. Not too much there. So looking at what we can do with this now. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. And bring this back a little bit. All right, let's check these zones out here. Not a bad zone. It pierced in there and again confirmed itself there. So let's bring this all the way across. How much room do we have? Got about 15 pips, so it's definitely in that range of what could happen next. It is about an 8 pip zone, so that is not a bad zone. I do kind of like that one. Not a bad setup on that one. Okay, that one's starting actually at 110.04, and then 110.11 is your stop loss on it. Again, nice little stop loss risk on that one. And again, scanner right now has this one at uptrend anchor break to the top side. So again, we're looking for some type of a pullback. So that may not be a bad little short to take that one overnight. Looking at dollar Swiss, let's see at those. Dollar Swiss banks off this zone and then made a bit of a collapse. It was up about 1.5 to 1 and continued to push higher. And then this one, it did not get triggered. It's real close. I don't know if you guys can see it. It did not get triggered in here. Had you actually done it based off the wick, again, it is doing it a little bit higher than that. Had you done it off the bottom of the wick, yes, it would have gotten triggered to the downside on the 4-hour, but it really hasn't moved too much. It's kind of hit that and stopped. I would wait for it to come back a little bit higher, and then again, this is definitely a short potential, right? In this pair. This is up 41, but we're starting to see some kind of chinks in the armor again. It's made a pretty nice rally over the last couple of days. Let's see, how much space is this? Let's see, we got about 19. It's about one ATR on the 4-hour. Here, that's 12. 12 is better. Yeah, I like that one better. If you're looking for shorts in this pair, that's what you're looking for. Right about there. 1 to 3 is in a great place. 1 to 5 is actually in. It's a little tad bit low, but I think you'd be okay with that one to the downside. Looking to take this one short. It would make sense. This one's had multiple days in a row where we've been up and haven't really had much retrace back. Little small pieces here or there. Okay. Looking at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is consolidating on this one, even on the 1-hour. On the 4-hour, again, you guys can see we are still sitting right up here at this demand zone. So again, we are still bearish this position. Any position we can find, any type of entry we can get, we're definitely into taking this one short. And again, it's on the daily as well as the 4-hour to the downside. So pretty much everything this one is like, yep, find a place to get short. And there's been a few little entries that you could have taken in here. We just had a recent, a failure to go higher situation. Although it was pretty close. You would have got entered into it, but it would have been real close. You probably would have made it by a pip or two to the downside. Problem is, though, with the lows getting higher, you're running out of room real quick. It's really getting eaten up. And we're only talking about basically 16 pip range. Yeah. Let's see. Do we have any tomorrow? No CAD news. So this will be an interesting one. If we can stay up in here. So this is what I'm looking at right now. So on Friday is where we have all this CAD US news. Okay, a lot of stuff. And again, the forecast is that the Canadian is going to go down. So the market's already pricing this in. So one of two things can happen. Okay, if it comes in as expected, it's already priced in. Okay, if it doesn't go as much, that's going to be great for the CAD, which is going to lead this pair to go down, right? On the USA, it comes in as expected. Say it comes in at 5.7, the market has already priced that in. But say this one goes up by 0.1, which would be bad US, right? I don't think it's dropping. I don't think it's going to drop to 3.4. But if it goes up to 3.6, again, also bad for the US, also brings it down. So there's a lot of things out there that are coming into on Friday that are leading me to believe that this is going to turn and kind of pull back and flip to the downside. I mean, again, we could get the exact opposite. This thing could go absolutely crazy, but the market's already preparing for bad CAD news, and the U.S. holding steady. So any type of miss on the U.S. is definitely going to affect it, as well as the non-farm payment numbers. Again, we had a good non-farm number today. Market's going to already have that priced in. So if the next one isn't as good as the market thinks, again, that's dollar weakness. So all these signs are saying that we're going to probably have this one turn and flip and roll to the downside. So just keep that in mind, again, from where we are with the dollar CAD. Dollar Singapore, again, this is what we've seen with Singapore and a lot of different things. We keep ending up inside of areas of supply, right, with the Singapore. We've had small retraces, but we haven't had anything great. Now, we've pushed pretty deeply into this point. Again, Singapore right now, a lot of this has to do with the coronavirus and what the effects are going to be. And again, who knows? Again, we want to focus on the highest quality. Excuse me. You can tell I only had one cup of coffee today. And very, very high on the curve, which we were actually approaching very, very high on the curve. So we are looking for an entry. If you guys can see this one, these are all small frames. I'll take those out. You guys can see it. This is the daily, right? How many days in a row has this thing been going up? Many, 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 without any type of pullback. So we are going to run into something pretty soon here. And again, we'll be looking for this thing with fall. I mean, it's been straight up. Look for these shorts to the downside if you have the ability to trade this one. Let's go across and look at oil real quick. So here was that oil trade that we set up earlier. Now, again, last night we had set this off of this zone right here. All right, wait, no, we did on the 4-hour. No, I think we did on the hourly. So here would have been your oil setup on this one. Again, we had marked off this zone, as you guys can see. Not only did it hit it, it came through its 1 to 3, crashed right through its 1 to 5, came down, and now it's pulled all the way back up again. So zone is breached, but again, our zone from last night, we were good to go. Looking at our back testing, I don't know if you guys were able to take this one or not. We actually shrunk it a little bit, but again, nice little trade entry to the downside. So that was a nice one. Again, we are rallied up and now pushed a little bit higher. So removing that, figuring out where we are right now, dropping it onto 4 hour, you can see we're kind of sitting in a wick over wick, and it's one of the ones I like where it's kind of an equidistant. You know, again, top and bottom, they're almost exactly the same. So we are seeing a little bit of a pullback. But I'm going to wait on this one, wait till we can get short, at least up into this range. And we're talking, that's like 53.08 if we come up there. We're sitting, I mean, basically the high was about 52.20. So we were within, 90 cents. They're definitely, that can happen in a day. That's not a big deal. Obviously that one can move when it needs to. So, it's within range, but I'd probably wait till we get any type of a short there. I mean, we are in a downtrend set up on the 4 hour daily. Dropping it down to the lower time frame, again, you can see it's probing higher, but in here, there's really not a ton that I love. Again, I'd wait till we get back up into this range here. I'll delete this one now. That was a good trade setup, which is basically up in this range. And it's, is it off of there? No, it's off of this one. The up here wants to be a little bit, when you're looking at this one, it's kind of like, like this is looking at this zone and then looking to the left, you can see you had this pullback here. So I don't know. This is not a bad one. Again, that would be a 4 hour target. So 4 hour risk. So again, looking for this to continue to rally a bit higher, take this area and then go short to the downside. All right. Looking at gold. Okay. So here is your gold trade. Okay. Again, this is the area we marked off last night. Whoops. We had marked off this area based off of here, right? Okay. Dropping it down to a 30-minute, you can see how close we were. So this ended up coming up just slightly outside of it. So there's two ways to play this one. One, again, you could have played this in spot currency, but a lot of places you can't trade this one. You could have traded this one Nadex. And from this area, it wouldn't have mattered that it went 2 pips over the level. Now, again, you should always have a little bit of buffer, but I mean, it went just basically a very, very tiny bit outside of this area. And again, drop it on the 15 though. Check this out. Drop it to the 15. What do we have? Do you guys see this? Yeah, I'm going to remove this. This was our draw from last night right here. I'll shrink it. So you can see we were right there. But what do we have here? Here was a failure to go higher based off the news, and then look at the collapse on the downside of this one. This was an absolute incredible trade to the downside if you were able to grab it. Okay, if you were able to catch it. Okay, and again, same level. I mean, same level we were talking about. It went just a tad higher. So again, in spot currency, if you didn't add a buffer, you would have got popped, right? By a little tiny bit, right? By like 2. But again, failure to go higher, came back up again, and that was the collapsing point all the way to the downside. So the analysis is right. If you took it inside of in Nadex, you were golden on that one. Literally, you were golden. That's it's quite a big move to the downside today, and you're able to grab that one. Then all it did was basically retrace back up again and just kind of meander sideways to the downside. So looking into tomorrow again, looking at 4 hour zones. Okay, I'll take these off now. That trade was over. As you can see, we have highs that are getting lower, right? And you can kind of say we're kind of channeling sideways. I mean, it's almost like one of these like equidistant channels to the downside, but nothing super impressive. I mean, looking at it on the 4 hour basis, I mean, I like this zone. This is a great zone, but that's pretty far away for gold to the downside. I mean, dropping it down to an hourly to get a little bit better of a read. This gives us a little bit closer target. Again, not a bad zone up top. Coming in at, what are we looking at? 159.70. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1559.70. And then looking on the downside at 1543.10. So kind of gives you the top and bottom. See what it does overnight. At this point, we have pushed lower. If we do get any type of spike up, again, this makes sense risk to reward wise. Check this out. You can get your 1 to 3 and your 1 to 5 in before we get to the opposing demand zone. All right. All right, so that one looks good to me. Besides that, that's it. I didn't pay any attention to NQ, but I think it's going to load up here in a second. Let me see if we populate. This is live. Yeah, that should be good. Again, NQ is sitting up there inside of a demand zone, or I'm sorry, inside of a supply zone. So there is a potential short that you guys have going on here, bringing this one back down to 93.39.80. Okay. Again, not a bad 1 to 3. It looks like it's a pretty good area. And again, that could be a nice little overnight trade as well. Set this thing up to kind of, basically come to fruition before the U.S. market opens tomorrow morning. We'll see where it pops to the downside. And that's it. Let's see. Let me draw this over here so this one stays tomorrow. I'll be curious to see how this one works out. All right, there we go. So that was the last of the pairs for tonight, guys. Like I said, a lot of stuff going on. Still testing this indicator. We'll see how the indicator goes. Like I said, a lot of these things were kind of funky. A lot of the, again, I'll bring the scanner back in again. This is, again, a lot of consolidation, some downtrends here. The Aussie had a bunch of different setups. CAD basket was kind of mixed back and forth. And again, the majors are a little bit funky. So, a lot of stuff going on today. Again, there's nothing we can do about that one. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and do the drawing here. I'll give you guys about 45 seconds to a minute. And again, you guys figure it out. If you're trying to time it, like I said, Ernest got it at the last minute and won last night. I know that's his strategy. We'll see if it works for you guys. But you got about 40 seconds before you were able to get in there. All right. We'll do like the little music. I guess it depends on your delay. So maybe it's not 45 seconds for you. It's good. You can go ahead and close it now. Will's like, no, we're good. We're good. See, Will's like super confident tonight. So I feel like Will is just calling a shot and he's like, yep, I'm winning this sucker. I'm winning it right now. Added the E. Up there we go, guys. Just to let you know, I just happened to get the test thing, the next test one. This is the third one I've tested today. And he says added the email E option in there. There's also an updated manual. He says whenever I'm confident enough with it, I can give it out. But we will see. Got to test it first. You're not getting it before Monday, Ernest. I'm just saying. Just saying. All right, closing the sucker down. And the winner of tonight's drawing is... I'm betting... Oh, God. Now you sound like Lindo. And the winner is Sean with a 12.5. He only did one tonight. Mark that one as complete. And let's see. We'll come over here. Go to the leaderboard. And let's give him his 25 pip chips for the night. Oops, not 35. God, can you imagine? My God, I'll get so much flack tomorrow. Why did he get 35 and I didn't? I'll never hear the end of that one. Anyone but Will. I don't know, man. I feel like, Ernest, if you would have got it again, there would have been a riot. But all right, guys. With that being said, I am out of here. I'm going to go make sure that the bathroom is not totally flooded at this point with the baby dumping water. She's just so mobile. She's like, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and she's having a good old time. So you guys have a good night. I'll catch you guys in the morning. Remember, not a whole lot of news releases tomorrow, but we will be back on. We do have non-farm payroll on Friday, so tomorrow night's analysis will be pretty important. And we will look at the indices tomorrow night as well and see where they're at. You guys take care. Have a good night.